So dear devotees, I'd like to begin with a quote by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada says something in his purport to Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, second chapter, verse number 12. So, Krishna Prabhupada, kindly read for me.
Srila Prabhupada Vacha. A sincere devotee must therefore be prepared to hear the Vedic literature like the Upanishads, Vedanta, and other literatures left by the previous authorities or Goswamis for the benefit of his progress. Without hearing such literatures, one cannot make actual progress. And without hearing and following the instructions that show the show of devotional service becomes worthless and therefore a sort of disturbance on the path of devotional service.
Yeah. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Prabhupada is very importantly emphasizing here how to make actual advancement on the path of bhakti. Because many times we have our own preconceptions of how to advance. In Sanskrit, there is a term Purvagraha. Has somebody heard about the term Purvagraha? What is the meaning of Purvagraha? Can anybody tell me?
Having a previous inclination to hear or some impetus.
Okay, having a previous preconception already set in the mind is called as, you are correct, Purvagraha. So many times we are having a Purvagraha. We have a preconception in our mindset about how we are going to advance on the path of bhakti. But we should also get it checked from the acharyas whether our preconceptions of advancement are actually living up to the mark set by the previous acharyas. Therefore, let us check if our conception of advancement in bhakti matches with what Prabhupada has given directly in his purports. Because sometimes Prabhupada writes a letter to a particular individual and that letter is a personal instruction. But dear devotees, this is a purport. A purport is a personal instruction or a general instruction? General instruction. So if it's a general instruction, it means is it applicable only to selective people or to all of us?
All of us.
All of us. Since it is applicable to all of us, let us take the words very seriously. Prabhupada says a sincere devotee must therefore be prepared to hear Vedic literature like Upanishads, Vedanta and other literature left by the previous authorities or Goswamis for the benefit of his progress. Dear devotees, all of us know that before Srila Prabhupada came to the US, Srila Prabhupada spent more than a decade at one place in Vrindavan. At which place in Vrindavan did Prabhupada stay? Radha Damodar temple. And what was Prabhupada doing for 10 years at Radha Damodar temple? Couldn't he have left 10 years ago? He had such a nice business. He could have saved some money from selling his business and bought a ticket to the United States straight away. He wouldn't have to beg for a ticket anyways. Couldn't Prabhupada have come 10 years ago? This is a question. Why did Prabhupada spend 10 years at Radha Damodar temple? Can any of you try to please answer this question?
He wanted to bring this Srimad Bhagavatam.
He was studying the literatures.
Yeah.
He's studying the literature, yes. Prabhuji, your answer?
He was contemplating asking Rupa Goswami and other acharyas for mercy and at the same time translating and giving his deep purports, and he was able to bring those 3 volumes
Yes.
of Srimad Bhagavatam to the West.
Wonderful. But if he would have come to the West, couldn't he have printed the volumes here itself directly? Yes? Yes, Mukul.
I just think, they always say it's the time. So he was doing what he thought, what his duty was at that moment, till the guidance from his gurus came,
Right.
that now is the time to proceed.
Wonderful. Yes, Prabhu.
He was preparing himself.
He was preparing himself. Wonderful. So, dear devotees, even though Srila Prabhupada is eternally liberated associate of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, still Srila Prabhupada also prepared himself for more than a decade at Radha Damodar temple. How did he prepare himself? By translating the Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita and by studying the literature of the previous acharyas. If we can calculate the number of years that Srila Prabhupada spent preaching in the West, how many years did Prabhupada spend?
12 years.
12 years. And how many years did he spend at Radha Damodar?
10.
Decades.
Huh?
10.
At least a decade, right?
Yeah.
At least 10.
So when in that decade, preaching success was almost negligible. Let's put it that way. In that decade, preaching success was almost negligible. But immense progress was made in another direction. And which direction is that, dear devotees?
Prabhupada's understanding and
The studying of Siddhanta took more than a decade, dear devotees, before Prabhupada came to the West. And when Prabhupada came to the West, it was as if he was holding a gun in his philosophical gun in his hand. Ask the question and I'll give you the praman straight away. I hope you're able to understand. This is what Prabhupada was when he came to the West.
Yes.
You know, and Srila Prabhupada says Vedanta and other literature left by the previous authorities of those Swamis. We might have noticed Prabhupada dedicated his Bhagavad Gita to a particular personality. To whom is Bhagavad Gita as it is dedicated?
Baladev
Bhushan.
Who very nicely wrote the
Vedanta Sutra
And the
commentary.
Govinda
Govinda
Bhashya.
Bhashya.
Dear devotees, this is one particular literature that Srila Prabhupada studied in great detail before Srila Prabhupada came to the West. And Prabhupada says, what is the reason? Without hearing such literature, one cannot make actual progress. So can't we make actual progress by chanting our rounds?
the proper understanding for chanting would come through these literatures.
Alright? Because Prabhupada is making a very absolute statement here. Huh? Prabhu, can you read that one statement?
And without hearing and following the instructions, without
Hearing such literature.
without hearing such literatures, one cannot make actual progress.
So why such an absolute statement? Huh? And that too a general statement. Without hearing such literature, one cannot make actual progress. So we have to take it very seriously because, dear devotees, how many of us want to make actual progress? How many of us want to make external progress? Please raise your hands. And how many of us want to make actual progress? Mataji, you raise your hand for both. Okay. And Prabhupada says, without hearing and following the instructions, the show of devotional service becomes worthless. Dear devotees, what is the meaning of the show of devotional service? That's also very important.
Maybe the external manifestation of
Because all of us are a part of a big society now. Srila Prabhupada was also part of a big society. What was the name of the society of which Srila Prabhupada was part of? Gaudiya Math. And when you are part of a big society, it automatically impels us to sort of make a show of devotional service when we are in a big gathering. I hope you are able to understand. All of us, and I'll be very honest, all of us are different when we are in the presence of a gathering. And all of us are different when we are by ourselves. When we are in our comfort zone, how are we actually? So that is who we are actually. I often say, especially this applies to those who speak from the big platform. The person who is in front of the camera is different. And when the camera is switched off, the person who is different. Don't you agree? Yes? There's a different person when the camera is switched off, and there's a different person when the camera is switched on. And this is applicable even to a speaker like myself. So I am a different person when the camera is switched off. And I am a different person when the camera is switched on. Now because switched on and Kishore Kinkar Prabhu is recording. So I have to and it's a very high quality camera, Not even half a syllable will be missed by the microphone. So I have to be very careful. But sometimes it becomes a show, dear devotees. I hope you are able to understand. Sometimes it becomes a show. And devotional service is not exactly supposed to be a show. Devotional service is supposed to be genuine. Everywhere else in the world we are making a show. All the manifestations of our money and happiness and on social media, the wonderful photographs that we put up are nothing but a show to hide the innate loneliness and unhappiness that we are going through in our lives. Don't we all agree? Yes? But Everything else can be a show. But why should bhakti become a show? Should bhakti also become a show?
No.
So Prabhupada says the show of devotional service becomes worthless. Then one goes in the association of devotees and then one shows one is very nice. In Hindi we say chakachak. You know what is chakachak? Chakachak devotee. Huh? Means very nice. Spick and span. Huh? That is how we translate it in English. Chakachak. Spick and span devotee. But that's actually a show. Because internally something is severely rotting their devotees. And unless we are able to find out what is severely rotting inside, we will not be able to come to a solution. So today I am going to try and discuss some of this. And Prabhupada says this becomes a sort of disturbance on the path of devotional service. Now let me give you an example of this, how it becomes a disturbance. Let's say I come to Laguna Beach as a new devotee, a brand new devotee, and I become a part of the congregation. And once I become a part of the congregation, I stay for 5 years, 10 years. Then the senior devotees come to me and say, Prabhu, good job, 10 years you stayed here, nice. Why don't you take this responsibility? So I say, yeah, maybe they are correct. I should take the responsibility. So I take the responsibility. But internally, I have no idea how to progress. But externally, now I have been given a designation, like leader of community. So whenever I come in the community, can I express openly and say, actually I am not so advanced? No, I can't say that. Why?
Others will not.
Arey, you are leader. By default, you are supposed to be advanced. If you are not advanced, then what about us? People will think, huh? So that's not what. So Prabhupada says it becomes a sort of disturbance over a period of time. Because after some time you have to continue maintaining the show of devotional service. This is where, dear devotees, we need to tackle some of the biggest challenges that we face unspoken. But we should understand how to get out of it. Now, devotional service is actually described by Narad Muni in Narad Bhakti Sutra to be the easiest process. In Narad Bhakti Sutra, Narad Muni says something. Please repeat after me. Anyasmat Saulabhyam Bhaktau. So Prabhu, kindly read the translation.
Success is easier to attain by devotional service than by any other process.
So the easiest process, dear devotees, of all the yoga processes is which yoga?
Bhakti yoga.
There is no doubt about it. In the United States, especially outside of India, in the Western world, it's so difficult to practice any form of yoga. But the greatest number of practitioners you can see, whose lives have been fully transformed, they are followers of Bhakti Yoga. Lives have been transformed, given up meat eating, given up intoxication, gambling, etc. It's easier to attain success by Bhakti Yoga. Still, although it is easier to attain success by Bhakti Yoga, there is something which Rupa Goswami says in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Rupa Goswami gives 6 characteristics of Bhakti in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. I will give the first 4 of them. Please repeat after me. Kleshagni Shubhada Moksha Laghuta Krit Sudhurlabha. The 4th characteristic I have highlighted in red. What is the 4th characteristic?
Sudurlabha.
Now some of you might be knowing what is the translation of Sudurlabha. What is Sudurlabha mean?
It's not it's Durlabha.
Durlabh is rare. And if you add the prefix Su, what does it mean? Extremely rare. So is bhakti easy or is bhakti rare?
Both.
Both, then we have not understood. Huh?
Easy to practice, but perfection is...
So very nice. It's very easy to enter the path, dear devotees. It's very easy to enter the path. Why? Because there is a big society and everybody is doing, and I also would like to do, and it looks nice to dress with the fancy clothes, dhoti and kurta on weekends, and put those colorful Indian clothes on weekend and come to the temple. and have nice prasadam. And it's very easy to enter into the path. To come out on the other side is most difficult. Dear devotees, it's going to be most difficult. So that is the reason why, although so many people enter into the path, rarely there is anybody who will be able to come out on the other side. And what is it on the other side? Can anybody tell me what is on the other end of the path of bhakti?
To attain love for Krishna.
So there is a technical name for that English term, love. What is the technical name? Prema. Prema bhakti is supposed to be on the other side. So many of us enter, and then we are also given those promises, promises by other devotees. Prabhu, just keep practicing, one day you will be successful. Alright?
Waiting for that day.
So Prabhu is practicing 1 year, 2 year, 10 year, 20 year, and then we are thinking, Are, is it supposed to be like this throughout my life, or am I supposed to experience some change? So dear devotees, it's very important to understand why is bhakti sudurlabha? Why is bhakti rare to be perfected? Can anybody tell me why it is so difficult to perfect the path of bhakti?
Because if you achieve perfection in this path, then Krishna is purchased completely.
Okay.
And the thing is, we are attached to materialistic activities. The modes of material nature acts on us, so we are bound by those things.
Isn't bhakti supposed to wash them away easily?
Yeah.
But
That's what bhakti is supposed to do.
But we have to surrender.
See, our effort is minimal. Bhakti Devi is supposed to do most of the effort. What Prabhuji said appeals more to me, that Krishna becomes purchased
And
and
he is not so easily willing to sell himself.
But then that also is.
It's like until you surrender, that will never happen actually. And that surrender, reach to the surrender state is itself a difficult process.
And I understand until you surrender it's a difficulty. After you surrender it should be easy, right?
That's it.
Or not?
It should be easy after that.
Better than earlier.
So we say like this bhakti, entering surrender
Huh.
is easier.
Yeah.
Sustaining the surrender when it's harder is actually
Really hard.
It's actually
Wonderful.
the beginning process of bhakti, surrender.
Surrender.
It's the starting point.
Right. Surrender to Guru. You first surrender to Guru, then you surrender to Bhagavan. Alright? Wonderful. What you said is resonating with me, because Krishna does not give bhakti so easily. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, something is said. 5th canto. Please repeat after me. Muktim dadati karhichit smana bhakti yogam.
Muktim
dadati karhichit smana bhakti yogam.
Muktim dadati karhichit. At one point of time, Krishna may give mukti. What is the meaning of mukti? Liberation. Smana bhakti yogam. But he will not easily give one thing. What will he not give? Bhakti yoga. He is not easily going to give bhakti yoga. Dear devotees, it is very important to understand that Krishna is not easily willing to give perfection on this path. Although there are many people who are admitted on the path, and they are admitted not because Krishna wanted it. Let me be also very honest. It is not because Krishna wanted to admit everybody. Krishna's age was which age? Kali Yuga or Dwapar Yuga? And which literature did Krishna speak?
Bhagavad Gita.
And after speaking Bhagavad Gita, how many people became devotees in Dwapar Yuga?
Arjuna.
Arjun is already associated. Otto is...
No,
all-
not
Not-
around.
How many books were distributed? No book distribution. How many plates of prasadam were distributed? No. How many people became devotees?
No.
No. Maybe. Yes.
Somewhere you can say no.
But like
Maybe a few you can count.
there was no institutional.
There was no institution. Wow. So institution is what brought the change. No. There is somebody who made all the difference in Kali Yuga. Ah, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu made all the difference in Kali Yuga. What is different about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu?
He is freely giving everybody.
Okay, I'll tell you in one sentence. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is not Krishna. Because his mood is not the mood of Krishna. Whose mood is he carrying? And that is why what was not available previously became available very easily in the age of Kali. Let's be very honest, today we are devotees because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu decided to give the process of bhakti very easily. Did he put any conditions like Krishna? Man mana bhav mad bhakto, first worship me, become my devotee and this and that. How many conditions? What was Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's condition for becoming a devotee?
Only chant and be sincere.
That's it. Only chant Hare Krishna. That's all. Anything else did Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ask from any of us? That is for later. But what is step one? Chant.
Once.
Yeah. And when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu defined who is a Vaishnava, what is the lowest definition of a Vaishnava?
One who chants the name of
One who chants Krishna Nam even once. That person is to be understood as a Vaishnava. What sort of can you compare this qualification with the qualification that Krishna has put in Dwapar Yuga in Bhagavad Gita?
Not even.
This is the reason why so many of us have entered into the path. I hope you are able to understand. So many of us have been able to enter into the path. There are many devotees who may not even be able to follow regulative principles, but still they are devotees. I hope you are able to understand. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has not disqualified them. Why? Because to enter into the path, not much qualification was needed. But Krishna's mood is this, Prabhu. Kindly read.
Those engaged in getting the Lord's favor attain liberation from the Lord very easily. But he does not very easily give the opportunity to render direct service unto him.
So this is very important. Bhagavan will not easily give the opportunity for Prema Bhakti. Rupa Goswami says there are two reasons why Prema Bhakti is very rarely attained. Now I will give the two reasons. Please hear the two reasons carefully. Rupa Goswami directly specifies what are the two reasons. Please repeat after me. This is from Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu. Sadhanau ghairana sangai alabhya suchiradapi harina chashvadeyeti dvidha sa syat sudurlabha. Dvidha, for two reasons. Bhakti is sudurlabha. So she is a lady. So bhakti is very difficult to be perfected for two reasons. What are the two reasons? Reason one. Sadhanaugair anasangair. When someone performs immense quantity of sadhan, but without asanga, without genuine attachment, one certainly doesn't attain uttama bhakti suchiradapi even after practicing for prolonged duration of time. How many of us have been told the sweet lie that you simply practice a big quantity of sadhana and Krishna will give you prema bhakti? How many of us have been told this sweet lie in our lives? Just choose a big number and Krishna will be happy. The bigger the number, the happier Krishna will be. I have been told many number of times. One particular day, it was Haridas Thakur's disappearance day. And somebody organized 192 rounds of japa. So I said, and invited me. So I went for 192 rounds of japa. After 64 rounds, I said, that I am not Haridas Thakur. I am not Haridas Thakur. And I returned back home. So, is it simply by quantity of sadhana, dear devotees? Let's say today I decide I will spend entire day performing japa, maybe 64, 128 rounds. Simply by giving a big quantity of sadhan bhakti, will it be attained? No. Rupa Goswami is so intelligent. Rupa Goswami, he could have said very easily, just perform a big chunk of sadhan and Krishna will be pleased. But that is not what Rupa Goswami. You see, many of us who come from India, we have a small problem. Especially those of us who come from India. We think bhakti is like a competitive exam. And that's what we have been subjected to since childhood. Competitive examination.
Competitive.
Like competitive exam. Sorry, my accent.
SAT.
SAT. It's like SAT exam. And the more you study and the more you practice, and then Krishna will declare the results and I will be all India rank 1. How many of us want to be all India rank 1 in Krishna's examination, dear devotees? Yes. It doesn't work that way. Actually, it doesn't work that way. And I also had this mindset when I entered into the path. Because I myself was preparing for competitive exams. So I thought, this is life is another exam. That's how they present it when they give you new lectures. Life is an exam, you have to pass it and Krishna will test you. And if you pass the test and Maya doesn't defeat you, then Krishna, you will go back home, back to Godhead. And you will be happy ever after. Alright? So this is... But after many years, I realized that this is not the case, dear devotees. It's not a competitive exam and Krishna is not comparing you and you. Although both of you are belonging to the same congregation. Krishna is not comparing two individuals. Why? Because Krishna is considering every case separately. For Krishna, every individual is a case to be considered separately. There is a nice verse in the Padyavali which says, Vidya Gajendrasya ka Kubjaya kimunam rupam adhikam kim tat sudamno dhanam Vamsha ko vidurasya yadava pater ugrasya kim paurusham. Did Gajendra have any knowledge, dear devotees? No. Did Dhruva have any maturity of age? No. Did Vidura have good family lineage?
No.
Did Sudama have any wealth? Was he a big life member or donor? No. Still all of these people attained Bhagavan's mercy. Bhaktya tushyati kevalam nacha gunair bhakti priyo madhava. Our Krishna may become pleased even with a little amount of bhakti. And sometimes he may not become pleased even with heaps of bhakti. That is his nature. When Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur calls him transcendental autocrat, what is the meaning of transcendental autocrat?
So he decides by his own basis.
He decides by his own sweet will. So my Guru Maharaj often narrated one story in this regard. He said that once in a particular kingdom there was immense drought. There's no rainfall for 2 years. And the peasants, the farmers were in immense difficulty. One particular farmer came to the king and asked for some help. Can you give me seeds for 2 years of cultivation? The king was in a good mood that particular day. He said, all right, I give you seeds for cultivation that can last you for 2 years. He went home happily and told everybody, see, I have 2 years worth of seeds. Other farmers went to the king and said, can we also get? So that day king was not in a good mood, really. So then they said, well, he got, but we didn't get. Why? What is the answer to that why?
King is the autocrat.
So that is what is the deciding factor here.
Krishna.
We may, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur used to say, we may go with an application to thousands of people, but until we find the one who can approve it, we will get nowhere. So, simply by sadhan bhakti gymnastics, it is not possible to attain, dear devotees. This is one important thing. Now, this doesn't mean that, if you then stop sadhan bhakti. So, don't take the other extreme. Sadhan bhakti has to be performed, but simply a big number is not going to help you achieve it. That is 100%. You can see it right here. Sadan aughair. Augha means big heap. But anasangair, without any genuine attachment. Alabhya, you will not attain it. Suchiradapi, even though you perform bhakti for a long time. And second reason, Harina cha ashu adeyati. Even if one performs sadhan with genuine attachment, like people said Sharanagati, one has to surrender. Even after you surrender, Harina cha ashu adeyati. Hari doesn't like to give it so easily. In this way, Dvidha, for two reasons, Sa Syat Sudurlabha. She is very difficult to perfect. Alright, so this is what is the second reason. Bhagwan doesn't want to give it so easily. Question arises, why does Bhagwan not want to give Prema Bhakti so easily?
He is bound by his devotees. He serves his devotees, so he can't give it to somebody he doesn't feel his.
How does he serve the devotees?
In the sense like he just to whatever devotee says, then he does it, and then for that the devotee should be at least devotee should have some qualification like Krishna. Then only can Krishna give it to him, because it can be dangerous for.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you. Yes.
So probably what I think is that when Bhagavan gives Prema Bhakti Viraja, because he opens the door, his door for the devotee. So of the door of the heart. So he does not want to do that for everybody. So that's why.
Okay. So dear devotees, when all of us get into a new relationship, do we get very casually into a new relationship or we check carefully? Okay, we check carefully. And what should Krishna do?
Check.
Alright. So why should Krishna check carefully before getting into a new relationship? Because Krishna knows that all of these people, they come with the designation Das. They all take the name. What name do they take? Das and Dasi. Once I accept them in the spiritual world, let's say, Prabhu, in this life, you are accepted in the spiritual world. We pray that happens. Right? And you go back home, back to Godhead. Now you are directly in the association of Krishna. Now, if you ask anything to Sri Krishna, can Krishna say no to you? So then who is Das?
Krishna is
Achha. So these people come with that big title, Das. And eventually in the spiritual world, who has to take care of whom? Nityo Nityanam Chetanas Chetananam Eko Bahunam Yo Vidadhati Kaman. That one personality has to satisfy the desires of all the living entities whom he has accepted. And can Krishna ever send you back? No. So that is the big problem, right? There is no question of divorce after Krishna has accepted you. So, therefore, Krishna will take his sweet time before deciding that this person I want to accept. I will give you an example of this. When Bhagwan Ram's pastimes were going on, Ram Navami is coming up, there is a very peculiar devotee, his name is Sugriv. Sugriv, the first time he met Bhagwan Ram was on a parvat, on a hill. Does anybody know which parvat?
No.
Nobody remembers?
M starts.
Rishyamukh. Rishyamukh was the name of the parvat. So Rishyamukh parvat he met. Right? And Bhagwan Ram and Sugriv immediately became friends. Ram immediately accepted Sugriv. And both of them promised each other something. What did Ram promise Sugriv? Help him fight Bali and gain back his kingdom. And what did Sugriv promise Bhagwan Ram?
He dispatches army and fights Sita.
Dispatches army to find Sita Devi. Did Bhagwan Ram fulfill his promise immediately?
Yes.
Did Sugriv fulfill his promise immediately?
No. Took some time.
Why? How many months did Sugriv delay it?
4 months.
Why did Sugriv delay by 4 months?
Because he got absorbed in enjoying.
No, it was Chaturmas. Chaturmas means rainy season. And what did Sugriv do during 4 months? So,
He enjoyed like
He broke how many regulative principles? All the regulative principles. He took Bali's wife as his own wife. His brother's wife, he took as his own wife.
But that was his own wife. Before Bali took his wife.
No, Bali has his own wife, and Bali had also taken Sugriv's wife. So he not only gained back his own wife, but he also forcibly took Bali's wife, Tara.
Yeah, Tara was Sugri's wife.
Bali's wife. Then so he should be disqualified. After Sugriv broke 4 regulative principles, what should Bhagwan Ram tell him, Prabhuji?
Nothing. He accepted him as a friend.
Arey? You should say no.
He
No
did-
meat eating, no intoxication, no gambling, no illicit sex. Sugriv, you have failed in following. Please, I am your friend. Go back to the material world. So did Bhagwan Ram reject Sugriv? What does this show? Once Bhagwan has committed himself in a relationship, he will not withdraw. So should Bhagwan commit easily in a relationship? That is the reason why Krishna does not want to give easily. Because there will be people who may want to just take undue advantage of the relationship.
I was just texting with Sachin with Krishna Prabhu. He was asking if it has been live streamed or just recording.
Okay,
No, I'm just. He wants to.
You
Is
can
it
do live
recording
stream.
or is it live stream?
Kishore Pinka Prabhu's it's just recording.
Please continue.
so dear devotees, what can we do to overcome this particular problem? The best thing we can do is, first and foremost, to perform bhakti with a mindset that is very sincere in intention and without the spirit of making any show whatsoever in front of a big group of devotees. Because previously, before we had institutions, there were people who were devotees. I have seen my own grandfather in my village. He was a devotee of Bhagwan Vitthal. So I come from Maharashtra, western part of India. So my grandfather in my village, he was a devotee of Bhagwan Vitthal. He used to wear kanti mala. He was initiated in the sampradaya. But there is a big difference between how he used to practice bhakti and how I practice bhakti. Because he only had 2 or 3 people in the village who were devotees. And there was no institution in the village. If there is no peer pressure, how will most of us perform bhakti?
By one's own impulse.
By one's own
Impulse.
impulse. That is very much needed, dear devotees, because that is where genuine bhajan begins. Today, maybe an institution has a lot of benefits, no doubt about it. But somewhere it also pushes us to conform to the norms of the society because we are members of a formal institution. But somewhere bhakti also has to be a process which comes genuinely from one's heart. Let's say today we end up relocating to a place where there is no institution. And maybe there are 2 or 3 devotees. How will we perform our bhakti? That, dear devotees, is very important. When there is no peer pressure and there is no pressure of getting up in the morning to attend Mangal Aarti on a Sunday. So how will we perform our bhakti at that particular point of time? So I saw my grandfather, he used to wake up early in the morning. The time was not fixed that, you have to wake up at 4 or 4:30. But you have to wake up in the morning around sunrise and these 2 or 3 people will get together. And then they will sing a few kirtans, because kirtan is how the morning is supposed to begin. And then they will perform some japa together and then they will go perform their daily work. And then in the evening they will gather together and then they will read something from Srimad Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita. So that is how they continued their process of bhakti. It was out of volition, self motivation. So this is most important, dear devotees, to have self motivated bhajan in our day to day lives. This is the first step that we can take in order to attain progress. Because often social life forces us to become artificial in ways that we cannot even imagine. And thus it is important for us to not have that sort of an artificiality. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu started his group of, with an initial group of devotees, not many rules were in place. It was very informal organization. What time did Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used to wake up? Can anybody tell me?
He was awake in the night also, actually.
Okay. No. In the morning, what time did Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wake up?
2 a.m.
Huh?
Sunrise.
2 a.m.
2 a.m.? That's not Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That's not the Mahaprabhu I know.
After sunrise.
After sunrise. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used to wake up after sunrise. Where is it mentioned?
Udilo Aruna Purava Bhage.
Udilo Aruna Purava Bhage Dvija Mani Gora Amani Jage. What is the meaning of Udilo Aruna Purava Bhage?
The sun has risen from the Purva.
The sun has risen
from the east.
eastern horizon, and after the sun rises, what happened?
Mahaprabhu opened his eyes.
Arre, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is not bona fide devotee, it seems. Huh? Is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu a bona fide ISKCON devotee? He is waking up after sunrise. What will you say to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? Huh?
Supreme autocrat.
Supreme autocrat.
He controls the autocrat.
The devotees in those days, there are two differences. First and foremost, there used to be late night kirtan at Sriva Sangan. So the kirtan would usually go until 1 or 2 o'clock. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was not that fanatic of rules and regulations. Anyways, 2 o'clock, so what? Wake up at 3:30. That is not Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used to say, take rest for some hours and then I will come and personally wake you up. Bhakat Samuha Laiya Sate. Everybody Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used to take together. Let's say somebody is sleeping. What would Chaitanya Mahaprabhu do? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would personally go and lovingly wake up the devotee. We have to go for Sankirtan. Alright, please wake up. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was not maintaining a report card of that. Acha, you woke up late today, Prabhu. You will not go back home back to Godhead if you do like this. So this is not Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. I hope you are able to understand. So, as devotees, we should understand that devotional service is best performed according to one's natural tendencies, and we should help all the devotees, to the best of our ability, so that they can advance on the path of bhakti. The mood that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has, somebody did not wake up early. What should we do? Help them.
Yeah.
That, okay Prabhu, no problem if you are not able to come for this arti. At least we are having Sankirtan in the evening or in the afternoon. Will you please come with us for Sankirtan? I hope you are able to understand. So that mood should be present in all of us. And Bhakata Samuha Laiya Sate. With Sankirtan, we'll take everybody together. And not make anybody feel inferior for any lapse that they have had in our so-called Swiss standards of perfection. Because today we have Swiss and German standards of perfection. In those days, clocks were not there. So how did the people come to know that it is Mangal Arti time?
From the sun.
The rooster. Not even the rooster. Roosters are not, everybody may not wake up with the rooster. Mangal Arti is when everybody is together. Dear dude, I hope you are able to understand. Yes. When everybody got together, sufficient number of devotees got together, then it is which time? Mangal Arti time. That is how before Swiss clocks were invented, how devotees used to perform Mangal Arti. Now we have Swiss and German time. So what time is Mangal Arti?
4 o'clock.
4:30. And if certain devotees have not woken up, then bad luck, we still go on with our Mangal Arti. But previously it was not that. Previously it was a little informal. How was it, dear devotees?
Little informal.
So whenever possible, let's try to make it a little informal for all the devotees. They're all going through many difficult circumstances in their lives. Some of them are facing problems on the family front. Some of them are putting kids through college. Some of them are waking up late night for work. And all of them cannot be put into one basket of did you wake up at 4 o'clock or not.
Actually, Sahaj.
Huh?
Sahaj
So that term is actually
and
that term is not accepted so easily in ISKCON. Sahaj doesn't mean you become lazy, but on most days devotees should be prepared for sadhan bhakti. But on some days when there is some lapse, the other devotees should help them. Other devotees should help them. And sometimes a particular devotee may face a lapse for quite a long duration of time. Even in that case, we should remain available for that particular. As long as they have not done anything criminal, I hope you are able to understand, from the legal point of view. As long as they have not done anything criminal, our community should remain available for them so that they can advance on the path of their bhajan. Alright? With this mindset, we will be able to have that informality in bhakti. Then devotees will think, why do I need to perform bhakti? Genuinely, why do I need to perform bhakti? So, this is one reason, dear devotees, why Krishna doesn't become available easily, because we have these preconceptions that simply by performing a mass quantity of bhakti according to a strict schedule, we will be able to attain Krishna. Rupa Goswami straight away rejects that particular possibility. Alright? So I will pause my speech at this point of time, but I will open the floor for some question and answers, because I am sure there are many question and answers that have arisen from what I spoke. So we'll begin with Kishore Kinkar.
Personally, I work very well when there is a structure, there is something I have to answer, right? I'm fearful that if I fall to spontaneous or I might become lazy. So how to avoid that, to not fall into that category?
I would like to ask a question. If our bhakti is dependent on a structure created by somebody else, have we really gotten into the main spirit of bhakti? That is a very important question, because let's say I can perform bhakti if there is a good structure available for me. But if there is a structure is not available for me, then I cannot perform bhakti so nicely. So my question is, if we are putting a precondition that I need an existing structure for me to stand straight on the path of bhakti, have we really, given it a deep thought as to what is the actual purpose for which we are performing bhakti? Therefore, I gave that example. Let's say we become isolated in a place where there are no devotees and we have to do it all alone, and there is no structure available. We may struggle initially, but gradually we'll be able to find the reasons why we should perform our bhajan.
Yes.
When that platform is attained, that is a much more mature platform of bhakti. Although I agree that for the time being the structure helps, but how long will we depend on the structure? That question we have to ask. Because sooner or later, like Prabhupada used to say, everybody has to fly their own plane. What is the meaning of flying your own plane?
You have to become self-motivated.
Self-motivated.
So it's like something like self-studying
Hmm.
and going to school.
Right.
Two different things.
Right.
Right? If you're self-motivated, you will be able to do the
Make advantage of the
Yeah.
school as
own
well.
study.
Right.
As long as you have scripture or something, you have to study.
Right.
Or you have go to school where you have
Right.
proper environment, proper teacher, and then you're basically structured where you are making progress.
Right.
So there's something I can relate.
Yeah. A school is also needed.
Yes.
For those who can't find a structure, a school is also needed.
Right.
But the best students are, who are the best students?
Who are self-motivated.
Self-motivated. Shouldn't at some point of time we also should become self-motivated. So that is what I am not saying no to the structure. I will not say no to the school system, because schools put many students, they make many students employable who otherwise would remain unemployable forever. But progress of the civilization is through those intelligent students who are self-motivated. They are the ones who make real changes happen in society. So that sort of bhakti where you are self-motivated and practicing by yourself and no external force is needed. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur specifies this in Madhurya Kadambini. In the beginning he says Shraddha is of two types. He says Bal Utpadita and Swabhaviki. Bal Utpadita means somebody else has given the force. Chalo, do this. And Swabhaviki means it's innate, natural. Doesn't need to be told. So that is. So what sort of Shraddha do we need to have? Natural or forcible? Natural.
So the question is how we get to that state also, because we are in so much in material thing actually, right? How do we get to the state where we can self-motivate to do that bhakti?
Wonderful. How do we get to that state where we feel self-motivated? Most people are not. The question is, why are many people not self-motivated?
Right.
If we are able to answer that question, we will be able to understand how to become self-motivated. Most people are not self-motivated because they don't see the relevance of the path in their lives. I hope you are able to understand. Most people are not self-motivated because they simply don't see the relevance of the path. It's a big lofty goal, Krishna Prem and going back to Godhead, and everything is nice.
Right.
But how is it relevant to me in this present circumstance? Most religions promise a good fruit in the afterlife. Right? That's what most religiosity is all about, It's all about the afterlife. What about this life? And in my day-to-day life, if it is not appearing helpful, why should I do it? I hope you are able to understand. Is bhakti useful only in the afterlife, or is it useful in day-to-day life?
Day-to-day life. It's very relevant.
Once we are able to answer the question, naturally, that it is relevant in our day-to-day life, then when the mind understands it is relevant in my day-to-day life, then definitely the mind will give time to it. Why else will the mind want to give time to it? Many people perform bhakti because they are attached to a promise of the afterlife. That if you perform bhakti nicely, you will be able to go back home, back to Godhead. And you will not get recycled in the material world. So performing bhakti out of that fear is good, but how long will that fear remain as a motivation? Sooner or later, one has to come to a higher platform of motivation. So, okay. I hope that answers your query. Yes. Anybody else?
I had a question. Some devotee was urgently texting me on some time-sensitive matter. But the second reason, could you just, right at that time you were explaining of Sudurlabha, that even if, so I totally get that one is not performing it genuinely, it's a genuinely, sincerely. But the other reason that is given, could you just please summarize
I
your
also had the same question.
basic point on how to understand the second reason?
The second reason is, even if somebody performs bhakti with genuine attachment on their side, Krishna takes time to introduce attachment from his side. Because a relationship means attachment has to be from both sides. A devotee has put his part or her part of the attachment in place. Krishna is not so easily willing to put attachment from his side, because before getting into a new relationship, even Bhagavan takes his sweet time. The reason being that once Bhagavan accepts a living entity, Bhagavan will never ever let that living entity go away. And I gave the example of whom? Sugriv. After breaking 4 regulative principles for 4 months straight, Bhagavan Ram never rejected Sugriv. Never rejected Sugriv. Actually, that's the Bhagwan we want. Actually, that's the relationship we all want. Where we can take the other person for granted as much as needed. But Bhagwan doesn't want to get into that sort of a relationship because it's an exploitative relationship where one person is simply taking advantage of the other person. When Bhagwan knows that this person's attitude is correct, this person has the attitude of putting Krishna before me. I hope you are able to understand. That attitude when is present, then Bhagwan becomes a little more serious about that.
So, can I?
Yeah.
So basically, but in the second, that I'm just probably trying to, split hair at this point. I totally, fully understand and agree and get it, what you said. So thank you so much for that. But if that is the case, to kind of extend the argument, if that is the case that this person might take advantage or exploit the relationship, it means there was some lack of genuineness to begin with. And at that point it would fall in the first category. In my books or in my, let us say, the way I am putting forth the argument.
I don't have attachment.
The second one is that once sum and substance it is genuine today and forever. If that would be the meaning, let's just speculate. If that would be the meaning, that there is, and Bhagwan can see, so if it is completely genuine today and forever, and absolutely no exploitative desires at all.
Then it is in the second category.
Then so Bhagwan at that point should be fully convinced that. But then why would he? Again, I'm kind of, the question embeds like I'm demanding him to be like, okay, why don't you commit? What's taking you so long to commit? Kind of thing.
Right. I'll tell you. Therefore, I gave the example of Sugriv. When Sugriv committed to Sri Ram, he was genuine in his mind. He promised not jokingly. Actually, he promised because he genuinely felt this is good friendship. Later, he changed. I hope. Later, he changed.
So he was, I would say in this argument, he was in first category.
That you can put there. But when Sugriv was promising, there was a big bonfire, and they all, in front of fire, they all promised. That's how, like in marriages, they promise. During a marriage, when two people promise, during the time of promise, at least when they are promising, for that time being, they feel genuinely, I'll live up to the promise. 2 years later,
Steadiness is required.
we don't.
Steadiness
is required. Bhagwan, the time is because Bhagwan sees this person is, under wavering circumstances, this person is living up to it or not. So, but one thing I'll tell you, once Bhagwan accepts a living entity, in the spiritual world, the living entity is under Yoga Maya. So, once the living entity is under Yoga Maya, even if the living entity has desires for personal enjoyment, Yoga Maya takes care of it. But that devotion is not of the highest category. Like Rupa Goswami says, Sadharani Rati, Samanjasa Rati and Samartha Rati. Sadharani Rati is Kubja. When Kubja wanted to associate with Krishna, Kubja had desires for her own enjoyment. Has Krishna accepted Kubja in the spiritual world?
Yes.
Despite her having desires for her personal enjoyment? Yes. So is it possible to have individuals in the spiritual world who have self-enjoyment in their mind? Yes. But what's the sort of relationship that Krishna wants? Where the motivations are very less. The motivations for selfish enjoyment are less. Motivation to give to others are more. Such a person is also a very nice member of the spiritual world, because the more people are focused on their own enjoyment in the spiritual world also, it is better to have people who are more open to serving others. Because even with the other residents of the spiritual world, it's very nice to have a person who is completely selfless, who takes joy in rendering seva to others. That sort of a person is most appreciated in the spiritual world. Prema Sevottara. So that's what Krishna wants to check, basically, before Krishna enters into a relationship. Yes, Prabhu.
Guruji, with this Sugriv example, that just occurred to me. Is he counted as a sadhan siddha or nitya siddha? Was he eternally an associate of Lord Ramchandra, or did he become?
So that categorization is a Gaudiya Vaishnava category, sadhan siddha or yes, nitya siddha. Ramayana doesn't mention anything like that. What we know is that Sugriv was accepted at one point of time and never rejected. Let's take to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Leela. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also had a servant named Kala Krishna Das. What did Chaitanya Mahaprabhu do with that servant?
Pulled him back
He
from
banned
the...
him.
Banned him.
After, but
No.
first he saved him from the...
First he saved him.
Bhattaharis.
First he saved him from falling down. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu never rejected him. Never rejected him.
Sent him for another.
But so, once Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also has accepted. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu didn't make him his closest associate. I hope you are able to understand. Who are the closest associates of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu?
Sarup Damodar.
Sarup Damodar Goswami, Rup Goswami. Why are Rupa Goswami and Sarup Damodar Goswami the closest associates?
Selfless.
Selfless. They know what is in Mahaprabhu's mind. Mahaprabhu doesn't have to know what is in their minds. They know what is in Mahaprabhu's mind.
Sorry, I was thinking of Chota Haridas.
Chota Haridas also
He
not
also
rejected.
Not rejected.
But
Mahaprabhu was smiling when...
Externally he showed that
But
he
he
was
asked
rejected.
it to suicide, right? He asked him.
But he came
Mahaprabhu,
and
huh?
sang for Mahaprabhu.
Chaitanya Mahaprabhu still never ever fully never said that he will have to take another birth or something like that. Chota Haridas is still a accepted associate of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. In Chaitanya Charitamrita, Chota Haridas is never criticized. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, once he accepts somebody, he will not reject. Therefore, we have to be a little careful that the motivation with which we are performing our bhajan, let us try to come as closer to the inner circle of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, so that we will also be in the inner circle of Shri Shri Radha and Krishna. The inner more we are in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's circle, the inner more we are in Shri Shri Radha Krishna's circle. So I hope that clarifies. Okay.
So Prabhu, now that we are in a society and some of these conceptions have infiltrated us, I would say that, it has just spread through.
Yeah.
And we look at people with that lens.
Yeah.
And we make decisions based on that.
Right.
Isn't the Vaishnava Parad increasing? So on one hand is this, on the other hand is we're going to cause problems in the society if we let things like this persist. So a person who is in a leadership role, he has to, how does he see these things? And what is his say? Not to be offensive and not let the behavior persist. How does he balance it?
See, the thing is, in a leadership role, a leader has something with him which other devotees don't have. And what a leader has with him is the freedom to take a decision. Now, a leader can take a decision in a way that can encourage the devotees,
Got it. Yes.
or a leader can take a decision in a way that will make them feel like part of a military camp.
Yes.
Hmm?
Yes.
So, nobody is going to question the leader. Let me tell you, leader is all glories to the leader. Everybody is going to say, no matter what decision he takes. If the leader turns it into a military camp and says every morning 3:30, whether you are sick or hungry or diseased or whatever, you have to be present, then, devotees will say, wow, wonderful, this is how our leader should be. And if the devotee says, no, whatever, even if you are having a little problem, but remain favorable towards Bhagavan. Whenever you come, remain favorable towards Bhagavan. The devotees are going to appreciate that also. I'll give you a small example of this. I was in Europe 15 days ago, and I was for the Easter retreat in Germany with His Holiness Sachinandan Swami Maharaj. So I arrived late at night, late in the evening, 6:30, 7:30, and Maharaj also arrived 1 hour late. And when he arrived, the devotees also had arrived late. Many of them had driven for 6 hours to come to the retreat. So Maharaj, in the evening program, Maharaj said, And this was last year, not this year, last year he said, you don't have to wake up in the inhuman time of 3:30 tomorrow morning. That's what he said. He said, for tomorrow morning. Huh? But if some of you feel more excited, want to do something exciting, you can do something exciting by waking up for Mangal Arati. You know, if you feel like doing something exciting. So he encouraged, and in the same sentence he also said that if some of you are tired, for today you can take a little rest. Right? And then I saw, because I went the next morning, because I had come 1 or 2 hours earlier, so I went next morning and I saw that there was sufficient number of devotees there. And I was encouraged by the fact that even though the leader is a little relaxed, but the devotees they know what are the actual standards. And that is what I appreciate about that. And that is similar to the mood of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was not, and I have also seen the other mood. Like 10 years ago, 15 years ago, I was doing brahmachari training. So I used to stay in the temple, and one fine night we were out on book distribution. We came back at 1:30 in the night, and I came back in a van, and there were no shock absorbers in the van. I came by 1:30 in the night, and and there was a mat, chatai, no cushion. So I went to sleep at 1:30, and next morning at 3:30 somebody turned on the tube light over my head. And you know how that feels. Huh? I slept at 1:30, and 3:30 somebody turned on the tube light on your head. And then I pulled my chadar on my head, and still they are not satisfied. So they came with kartal near my Jeev jago Gora Chand bole Kata nidra jau maya Pishachira kole. I said, today is your day, no problem. Tomorrow will be mine. So I have had those experiences also, and it has not made me more favorable towards Krishna Bhakti. So a leader has to decide what is the best way of making the other devotees favorable towards the path. Because the most important condition of Uttama Bhakti is Anukulyena Krishna Anushilena. What is the meaning of Anukulyena? Favorability is the most important condition of Uttama Bhakti. If one is making people unfavorable towards Bhakti, they are perhaps rendering the biggest disservice towards the path of Krishna Bhakti, despite being called leaders. So that is what I would like to say. Yes, Mataji. No, Mataji, you can say first. You raise your hand first.
So, Mataji, I wanted to ask, like, in these leelas, for example, Sugriva, are they not already eternal associates of the Lord when they are, doing that leela?
Agreed, even if let's say they are eternal associates. But what is the point of the leela then?
Teaches.
There is a point behind every leela. Assuming that he is eternal associate. Let's assume he is eternal associate. Even an eternal associate may turn away from Bhagavan's service for some point of time. What is the end lesson to be learnt, Mataji? The end lesson to be learnt is that
Krishna doesn't
Bhagavan will never ever reject us once he has accepted us. So how many of us want to become, associate of such a Bhagavan? Almost all of us want to become associate. Yes. So I hope that answers your query. Yes. Mataji, you wanted to say something?
I was just listening to Prabhuji. You were saying about how Krishna accepts us based on because it's like a relationship and he's testing before the final yes. I think that also, I was just thinking, answers the question of how can we do bhakti without an institutional guideline. Because when we think if we are in a relationship, how do we feel? Like we're not falling, we don't need anyone to tell us, and call the person or go meet.
Right.
It just is so, your life is so driven and full of that love. And I think that same love, when it's for Krishna, it's for Radha and Bhakti.
Wonderful.
It's that becomes your guiding force
Right.
to get you to do that, and that I think kind of connects you without the rules. The same, like you said, even though the people were told you don't have to wake up, but if you feel that love, you are eager to wake up and be in that person's presence.
Wonderful. So I'll give you a similar example, Mataji. Being in an institution is like arranged marriage. When you get arranged marriage, those of us who have been in an arranged marriage, so both parents bring two people together, and this is the person whom you are going to get married to. Is it okay with you? Yes. Is it okay with you? Yes. All right. Both of you get married. Okay. And then when you get married, all right, put the garland around him. Yes. You put the garland around her. Yes. And circumambulate 7 times. Yes. Okay. And tomorrow morning you have to wake up and cook something for him. And tomorrow morning you have to wake up and give her a gift. Okay, chalo, we will do that. So this is rules and regulations. But if after 10 years also, we have to depend on rules and regulations, then something is seriously missing in the marriage. I hope you are able to understand what this is. So after 10 years you need not be told that, after 10 years it has to be out of spontaneity. So the institution is like arranged marriage. It brings Krishna and the devotee together and tells the devotee what should be done, what should not be done. And after 10 years, if the devotee is thinking, so if the devotee is not self-motivated after 10 or 15 years, then somewhere the devotee did not have heart in the relationship. And that heart needs to be put into the relationship, because the institution was supposed to bring us to the point wherein we develop spontaneous devotional service, spontaneous attachment towards Sri Krishna. Otherwise, it will always remain like the first day of arranged marriage with a lot of formality. So I hope that clarifies. Yes, right? Yes, Prabhu.
Can I ask a question the other way? Suppose someone has some genuine attachment and sincerity on his own coming out, but then the institution has certain things that they want to push, book distribution, street sankirtan. He should not say no, I will just depend on my own volition and I will not. I should also help to the institution put forward these things, right?
Right. See, an institution is facilitating mass propagation of Krishna Bhakti. If a person has genuine attachment for Krishna, he or she will have sympathy for the fact that other people are also being brought to the path. Simply out of sympathy of this fact, this person will voluntarily select at least a few services which he or she feels are helpful for bringing other people on the same path of attachment. He or she is experiencing genuine attachment. Wouldn't he or she want others also to experience that genuine attachment? Yes?
Yes.
So, such a person will definitely voluntarily take at least few services to bring others. Maybe he may not be such a dedicated, active member.
Cost where his own genuine is being hindered. Right?
When it is being hindered, he will withdraw. But when it is not being hindered, both are not mutually exclusive, right? You can also have genuine personal attachment and you can also facilitate other people for coming to the path. So those are not mutually exclusive. After a person becomes very advanced to come to the stage of bhava and prema, in some cases it may happen that a person may become, you can say, useless from the point of view of the external world. But that's a very advanced case. Like let's put it that way. That's a very advanced case. In general, there should not be any issue in that regard. And anyways, the institution allows us to select a particular seva. It's not that services are pushed on you. Today you will do this. There is a service opportunity. Would you like to do? Like this is how generally the institutions, give services, and we can select a service which is appealing to our nature. So that is also nice. Yes. Anybody else? Yes, Prabhu.
I can appreciate his side of that, where from the lens and the filter
of Sankirtan devotee, or just like preaching devotee, it's service first, schedule later.
Hmm.
And especially when there's late nights, you're not always going to make the early Mangal Arti, but that's what the temple schedule is for. At some point, you go back to regulation, early wake ups, but when you're out there, it's just you're chanting when time provides, but after the service.
Right.
And if you're doing late night kirtans, and again, it's not necessarily schedule adherence. So, but there is a balance, you know.
Right.
The when you're out of that moment, then you can go back to temple schedule early morning, and then it balances it out, and then you level out.
Yes, wonderful.
But from that filter, you know, the service is first, the schedule later, in that moment. And then there's a nice check and balance where the temple schedule reinforces the
Yes.
regulation.
Yes, wonderful. I fully agree with that. That the schedule also is it helps maintain the balance, and yet the love for the service tops everything else. You know, and that I very much appreciate. And I would also like to add to this that previously, a few hundred years ago, it was more informal because there were no strict, timelines. So, whatever strictness was there was introduced by self motivation. It was not because of a clock. So previously it was even more informal. Today it has become a little more formal because we follow a particular clock. And previously it was more informal, and the more informal things are, the more beautiful they will be. And the more formalized they are, there is a slight tendency to become a little rigid in that regard. So as much as we can keep it informal, that will be to our greater benefit. At the same time, maintaining the schedule so that devotees have a fixed standard to follow. Those who want to follow standard should always have a fixed standard to follow. So I appreciate that very much, Prabhu. Prabhu, your good name, Prabhuji?
Jagannath Krishna.
Jagannath Mishra. Thank you, Prabhuji. Yes,
There
Prabhu.
will be difference between the devotees who are working and full-time devotees, right? So
Yes.
in this case, like because more full-time devotees, they can be more informal because they don't have rigid timings. Because next day we have to go to work for the devotees who are working, so it's difficult to be more informal.
In the Gaudiya Math, when Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur started the Gaudiya Math, there were different standards for full-time devotees and working professionals. Full-time devotees in the Math were expected to chant 64 rounds. Their initiation used to happen at 64 rounds. Working professionals, their initiation used to start with 4 rounds.
Yes.
Yeah, 4 rounds.
Many people say that it is blanket rule, 64
No,
rounds.
no,
Every
it
morning
was
they
never.
go to-
No.
It's not true.
It's not true. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur initiated working professionals at 4 rounds. That was the beginning. And the standard was 16 rounds if somebody has more free time. And if somebody is a Mathavasi, resident of the Math, and is not doing much prachar, preaching, then they are expected to chant every day 64 rounds. So that is the standard. So you can see the flexibility that was introduced. But in ISKCON we fixed it eternally for 16 rounds. So that's also okay because we selected a balance.
Do you
But
think that will change, Prabhu, with time?
no, that will not change.
Minimum 16, right?
Minimum 16 is there. Officially it will not change, even though in the personal lives of devotees we don't know what is going on all right. But yes.
So we understood from the class that we need the process, the sadhana bhakti, at the initial stage, and then we have to switch to the spontaneous bhakti, or the pure. So the goal is pure, but the stage 1 is not sufficient to reach to the goal.
No.
So we need to transit to the stage 2, and then it will give you the goal. So how can we do that transition? It's not mechanical, I can understand, like we cannot make certain rules to transit stage 1 to stage 2. But what can we do from our side to make that process faster or quicker?
In order to transition to that particular platform, the best thing that can help is association of a devotee who's already on that platform. Because once you observe a devotee who's already on that platform and a devotee who has come from the sadhan, from the rigors of sadhan bhakti, then the devotee can tell us what all things do we need, what all attitude adjustments do we need in life. Because devotional service is about adjusting your attitude as you mature on the path of bhakti. Once you know what all attitude adjustments are required, and then we understand, Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur gives it in one phrase, he lists it. He calls it Vidhi Marga Rata Jane Swadhinata Ratna Dane Raga Marge Karaya Pravesh. He says, Vidhi Marga Rata Jane, somebody who is engaged in rules and regulations. Swadhinata Ratna Dane, Krishna gives the jewel of freedom to him. Raga Marge Karaya Pravesh. And then Krishna makes him enter into the path of Raga Bhakti. Then the devotee understands which rules were really essential and which rules were not. Because right now, the person who is performing Vaidhi Bhakti thinks all rules are equally essential. He does not have the freedom to decide which rules are essential and which rules are not essential. Bhakti Vinod Thakur gives an example now. Please hear this example carefully. It's a very important example. He says there are two devotees. One devotee is a pakka Vaidhi Bhakta, like strict follower of rules and regulation. And another is a spontaneous devotee of the path of Raga Bhakti. Both have received Brahman Diksha, second initiation. Both of them are sitting in a katha. Suddenly, both devotees notice, it is 12 o'clock. What does the Vaidhi Bhakta do? He excuses himself from the katha. He goes out, performs his Gayatri. Gare Bapre, 12 o'clock. If I miss the time, Surya Dev will be angry on me. And then he performs his Gayatri and comes back and loses his spot in the katha, and sits in the last row. And the devotee on the path of Raga is absorbed in the mellows of the katha. He knows a nice Krishna katha is going on. So Krishna is leaving Vrindavan for Mathura. On the chariot of Akrura, Krishna is making a promise. What falsities is Krishna speaking at this point of time? I will come back. So this is the lie that is being spoken in front of all the Vrajavasis on the chariot.
He did come back. He did come back.
That is a big question. Did Krishna come?
But you quoted a shastra.
Yeah. He did come back.
Few
After 3 months he did come back. But from the point of view of Leela, Sri Krishna never came back. Never came back. So Krishna turned out to be a big liar at that point of time. So he is relishing this. Now he notices, 12 o'clock. So what to do? Should I give preference to the katha or should I give preference to the Gayatri? Prabhu, you tell. Katha. Because that is where rag or spontaneous, genuine attachment is manifesting itself. But then the time has passed away. When the katha gets over at 2 o'clock, time has passed away. Then what will he do? Then after 2 o'clock he will find a suitable time and he will chant Gayatri. And after chanting Gayatri, he will chant one particular mantra. What mantra will this person chant? I will show you the mantra which should be chanted if you miss your Gayatri at any point of time. Are you second initiated? Oh, nice. 8:23:16 Srimad Bhagavatam. Mantra tas tantra tas chidram. देशकालार्ह वस्तुतः सर्वं करोति निश्चिद्रम् अनुसंकीर्तनं तव. Prabhu, please read the translation.
There may be discrepancy in pronouncing the mantras and observing the regulative principles. And moreover, there may be discrepancies in regard to time, place, person and paraphernalia. But when your Lordship's holy name is chanted, everything becomes faultless.
Then he chants this mantra after chanting his Gayatri and chants Hare Krishna Maha Mantra thrice and becomes satisfied at heart and is happy. I hope you are able to
But
understand.
does he have to, if he misses, does he have to do the Gayatri mantra later on? Or can it be
No.
skipped?
Why will he skip? Because it's Sandhya.
Because I have been told, Prabhu, by different that there is a certain time for doing the Gayatri mantra. So many muhurtas before, 18 minutes before, 15 minutes after. If that is gone, then it's-
What is the meaning of, actually the term is not Gayatri, the term is Sandhya. What is the meaning of Sandhya? There is a term in Sanskrit called Sandhi. What is Sandhi? Sandhi is joint. Isn't this joint is called Sandhi? So feminine Sandhi is called Sandhya. So the joint of night and morning is first Sandhya. The joint of previous night and morning is first Sandhya. And it is ruled by the Devi named Gayatri. The joint of morning and evening is the second Sandhya. It is ruled by Savitri Devi. And the joint of evening and night is the third Sandhya. It is ruled by Saraswati Devi. Gayatri, Savitri and Saraswati are the three presiding deities of the three Sandhyas. Jayans Tuvams Tasya Yashas three Sandhya. So what is the three Sandhya? What is the name of the three Sandhyas? Gayatri, Savitri and Saraswati. These are the three Sandhyas. When the particular Sandhya Devi is ruling in a particular time, but her time was missed. So we will not fully neglect her. According to the Shastras which give the rules for Gayatri, the Devi can be honored later, but with some prayaschitta. But since Vaishnavas don't have a culture of prayaschitta or atonement, there is no atonement for a Vaishnava ever, according to Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu very clearly says, and I will quote here, Nishiddhacharato daivat prayaschittam tu nochitam. If by mistake some forbidden activity has taken or you miss something, prayaschittam tu na uchitam. There is no point of atonement because bhakti itself is the best atonement. But we should honor the Devi at certain point of time by, doing some bhakti prayaschitta. Bhakti prayaschitta means some form of devotional atonement should be there. What is the devotional atonement? The best devotional atonement is Anu Sankirtanam Tava. The Bhagwan's repeated Sankirtan is considered to be the best atonement. Devotional solution. Otherwise, if you go to Smart Brahmana, because my traditional family, Smart Brahmana, they will say, miss your food. You miss Gayatri, miss your food. That is what they will say. My grandfather. Miss your food, you miss Gayatri. So that is different attitude. So,
we missed Gayatri in this scenario. We missed Gayatri for our respect and love for Krishna and his devotion, right? So
yeah.
obviously the Devi will also prefer that. If you go to Devi and tell
We should not assume on behalf of the Devi. Devi should also understand, na? So that is not the devotee's attitude. That sort of attitude will not help. We missed something, that we take the responsibility.
But when we have to make one choice, of course, it's not about the Devi understanding that, but we know that this is the best thing to do, which will make Krishna happy and everyone happy.
The statement you are making is out of kartavya buddhi, responsibility. The devotee who actually misses Sandhya, misses it out of rag, genuine love of Krishna. He doesn't miss because I am supposed to do this. No. That is kartavya buddhi. Kartavya buddhi is a lower platform as compared to rag. The pastimes are so beautiful. Forget about getting up from here. There is no point of getting up at this point of time. That is the motivation of the devotee who misses out of rag bhakti. Not that at this point I am supposed to do this or supposed to. That if you are thinking of kartavya or what I am supposed to do, then that is not the platform of rag. Platform of rag is different. Platform of rag is when you have that spontaneity that Krishna is mine. I hope you are able to understand. No? Krishna is mine.
But then again we miss it, right?
So then we miss it,
Then we are.
then you have to perform bhakti prayaschit. As I said, that bhakti prayaschit is often not specified what to do when you miss a particular time. And prayaschit is forbidden according to Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. So then what do you do? So what is bhakti prayas? There is a big understanding of what is the meaning of bhakti prayaschit. Because sometimes we think we will do something, we will fast for the day, or sometimes people miss paran time after Ekadashi.
So chanting.
So that is bhakti is the best prayaschit for that. We should understand. There is a pastime in Chaitanya Charitamrita about what is his name. There was a person who was working under a Muslim ruler, and the Muslim ruler was envious of him, and he forced him to drink water from his container. And he was so unhappy, because in those days if you drank water from a Muslim's container, you become Muslim actually. So he went to Kashi, and he asked all the Pandits. Subudhi Rai. Subudhi Rai went to, thank you Prabhuji. Subudhi Rai went to Kashi. He asked all the Pandits, what should I do? So Pandits flipped the pages of the Smriti Shastra, and this Pandit said, you have to drink boiling ghee in order to perform atonement. So Subudhi Rai said, if I drink boiling ghee, Dehantar Prayaschit, means you have to give up your body actually. So, what sort of atonement is this? The Pandit says, see, this is what Smriti Shastra says, don't question us beyond this, that's all. You came for solution or you came for some silly workaround? What do you want? So the Pandit told him, this is what it is. So Subudhi Rai is big headache, at this point of time. Fortunately, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was there in Kashi at that point. So he went to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Arey, you chant Krishna Naam, that is the best prayaschit. Don't go for this karma prayaschit. Don't go for this karma prayaschit. You go for bhakti prayaschit. And then Subudhi Rai, in association of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he chanted Krishna Naam. So this was...
Atonement for love can be more.
So this is how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, this is the reason why Rupa Goswami also says prayaschittam to no chittam. Because if you see Smriti Shastras, for missing Gayatri, the prayaschit is intense, So you can't just miss Gayatri like that. Yes, Prabhu.
So Prabhu, if it is not feeling for rag, if it is not coming from the raga platform, but we miss our Gayatri,
still Bhakti Prayaschit. Bhakti Prayaschit is there. Because whether rag or Vaidhi, you are Bhakti Adhikari. Are you Karma Adhikari, Jnana Adhikari or Bhakti Adhikari? You are Bhakti Adhikari. So even if you
I've been chastised my wife because we heard from another Swami and he says there is a fixed time. If you don't do it within this time, then but we never heard this point that you represent.
There is see the verse itself I am quoting, mantratas tantratas chidram. There may be discrepancies in pronouncing the mantra, desha, kala, and there may be regarded to time and place. There may be discrepancy. This is for that very same purpose. But sarvam karoti nischidram, everything is made faultless. How? Anusankirtanam tava, by your repeated sankirtan. And then by uttering this mantra, then you chant Maha Mantra. But don't use this as a license for delaying your Gayatri. That is because some people make a license out of it. Arey wah, mantratas tantratas chidram.
Prabhuji, we have one person in our congregation who has been appointed to chant this mantra. Nimai Charan Das. Maybe every Nirantar Prabhu program, he chants that mantra.
Okay, nice.
Then he chants.
So we have formalized it now. We have formalized our atonements. It's supposed to be private and individual feeling. Alright. Yes, Mataji, you wanted to say?
Just very quick one. So Anusankirtana means it has to be along with devotees or chanting, because chanting can be translated as just your japa personal versus kirtan and that you kirtan with devotees. So what is the pratika actually?
So Anu means punah punah. Meaning of the prefix Anu in Sanskrit is punah punah. So Anu means punah punah. Sankirtanam is bahubir militva yat kirtanam tat sankirtanam. With many people you get together and perform, but here you cannot get with many people because you are alone. So then you have to, you cannot take what is called as abhidha vritti, direct meaning of the term. You have to take lakshana vritti. You are forced to take another meaning. Sankirtanam, samyak kirtanam. I hope you are able to understand. Samyak means sufficient amount of kirtan. So that is by force of circumstance you cannot take the abhidha vritti, direct meaning of the term. By force of circumstance you are supposed to take lakshana vritti, indirect meaning of the term. Anu sankirtanam, repeated sufficient kirtan of Bhagavan's name. You can chant 3 times. 3 times is considered. When no number is specified, 3 is the number. I hope you are able to. This is called as Kapinjal Nyaya. When no number is specified, what is the number? 3 is the number. In Vedas, this is called Kapinjal Nyaya. Because in Jaimini's Mimamsa Sutras, it is specified that Kapinjalan alabhet, offer Kapinjal birds in sacrifice in the spring season. Number is not specified. Jaimini Muni asks what is the number. But Kapinjalan is plural number. But plural what? In Sanskrit, plural starts with which number? 3. So Jaimini says, because plural starts with 3, therefore, whenever a number is not specified in Shastra, according to Kapinjal Nyaya, let the number be set to how much? 3. Minimum 3. Minimum 3. So in Kapinjal Nyaya, the number is set to minimum 3. Shastra says, you have to wear tulsi malas.
3.
Number is not specified in Shastra. Alright? How many malas do you have to wear? 3. Which Nyaya? Kapinjal Nyaya. So according to Kapinjal Nyaya, we wear minimum. How many malas around the neck? 3 are what? Because Hari Bhakti Vilas, it says malaha, plural. You have to wear tulsi malaha. So plural number of quantity. But plural starts with which number? 3. Which Nyaya? Kapinjal Nyaya. So this, today I am specifying something. This is Kapinjal Nyaya according to Shastra. So I hope that satisfies you. Yes.
Prabhu, one more question.
Okay, I'll come back to you, Mataji. Yes.
So, is it a Bhakti Prashchitta you mentioned, Prabhu? But we, for the deity worship, if we do any mistakes, we do the forgive offenses, aparadha sahasrani, kriyante, we do that. So, it comes under Bhakti Prashchitta or ask for forgiveness of our offenses?
If you see Bhakti, if you, for Seva Aparadh, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has given in Madhurya Kadambini. He says, Seva Aparadhanam tu namabhis tattan nivartaka stotra pathai seva satatyena cha bhavyasya vivekinah praya pratidinam evo poshamena ankuri bhavanulaptehe. This is the direct statement of Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur in Madhurya Kadambini. Seva Aparadhanam tu namabhis. While performing seva, you are constantly chanting Nam. I hope you are able to understand. While performing seva, you are constantly supposed to chant what? Nam. By the constant chanting of Nam while performing seva, the aparadhas are prevented even before they begin.
Wow.
So that is what Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says. Ankuri bhav anupalabdhe. Ankuri bhav. You know what is the meaning of Ankuri bhav? Sprouting. Even the sprouting is prevented. Anupalabdhi. Simply by performing constant sankirtan while performing seva.
Even if we hear, if not chanting,
No,
you don't interpret it like that. What is, you have to, as it is. You have to chant. You have to chant. Not, it doesn't say Shravan. What does it say?
Chant.
Kirtan. What is the technical term, Shravan or Kirtan? Kirtan. Because what we will do is we will make it a passive process. Let Prabhupada do the Prabhupada will do the aparadh removal. I will do the seva aparadh. So the headache of removal seva aparadh is upon Prabhupada, and the headache of performing seva aparadh is upon me. So that we should not do. If we are performing seva aparadh, who should remove the seva aparadh? We should remove. So prayashchit, bhakti prayashchit should be done by us. So that is there. Yes, Mataji, then I'll come to you.
About the Tulsi Malapur tree, minimum 3 you said, but many times we say that 3 is when you get initiated and others get very younger.
That was after the institutions were made, this distinction came about. That uninitiated 1, initiated 3, so that we can differentiate between uninitiated and initiated. Hari Bhakti Vilas says Malaha. Those of you who studied Sanskrit, Lata Late Lataha. Mala Male Malaha. So Hari Bhakti Vilas says Malaha. You should wear plural quantity of malas. Even an uninitiated person is allowed to wear plural quantity of malas. Question is, what should the number be set to? There is no fixed number mentioned in Hari Bhakti Vilas. So then the number should be set to what? According to which Nyaya? Kapinjal Nyaya. The number is set to how much? 3. Which means we should have 3 distinct malas. But nowadays we don't have 3 distinct malas, we have 3 rounds of the same mala. So actually speaking, we are supposed to have 3 distinct tulsi malas around our neck. But nowadays we have made it 3 rounds of one mala. Previously the Vaishnavas used to have 2 or 3 distinct. Even if you go to Vrindavan, Govardhan, you see the traditional Vaishnavas, they not wear one mala. You don't know 3 round, 5 round. They don't have this round business. They have multiple malas. So that is because they are following that literally, what is there in the tradition. Alright, I hope that answers your query. Yes. Yes, anybody? Yes, Prabhuji.
So Prabhuji,
So you let me know when to, because I am very happy answering the questions.
It's all depends upon Vaishnava.
Haan.
You leave it to, it is between the Vaishnavas.
No, but they will not say that we want to have prashad.
130.
130.
Yeah, 124 now. 130.
130. Okay.
This guy.
So,
Yeah.
so actually, Prabhu, if some, the first condition that was mentioned was, I think the both kids are playing also. The first condition was when somebody does a volume of sadhana without it. But some people, because of their karma, they are not able to do volumes of sadhana. And they may not be able to understand. And sometimes even the situations are such that you have to prioritize. And it's not that you don't have attachment. So is volume of sadhana, and you said 4 rounds, 16 rounds, 3 gayatris. So how do we draw a balance?
See, the point is, there is no fixed formula for attaining mercy of Krishna. You can attain mercy of Krishna simply by chanting one Naam. I hope everybody agrees. Can you attain mercy of Krishna by chanting one Naam? Who is the example in this regard? Ajamil. Or that Muslim who chanted Haram. Okay. You cannot attain mercy of Krishna even after chanting Naam for many, many lives. Does everybody agree? Yes. There is a praman about that. Without praman we should not speak anything. There is a praman. See here. Bahu janma kare yadi shravana kirtan tabuta na paye Krishna pade premadhan. Bahu janma kare. For many lives also shravan kirtan. But if the attitude is not in the proper place, na paye Krishna pade premadhan. He will not attain Sri Krishna prem. So then what is the fixed formula for attaining Krishna prem? The answer is, there is no fixed formula. The fixed thing is, as soon as Bhagavan Sri Krishna agrees, that is the time when a devotee will attain a higher stage. And that is also specified in the Upanishads. Yeah, see here. Yam evaisha vrinute kathopanishad tena labhyas tashtayesha atma vivrinate tanum swam. Prabhupada used to quote this very often, this thing. Nayam atma pravachanena labhyo na medhaya na bahudha shrutena. Nayam atma, the supreme soul, na pravachanena labhyo, will not be attained by attending big lectures. Na medhaya, not by our intelligence. Na bahudha shrutena, not by big learning. How will the Supreme Lord be attained? Yam eva esha vrinute. He whom the Supreme Lord selects, tena labhyas, only that person will attain. Tasya isha atma vivrinate tanuswam. And only to that person whom he has personally selected, he will reveal his form. This is the Upanishadic secret. That, the whole process is to come to the point where Bhagavan will select us. And that cannot be forced on any particular formula. No particular formula is there for making Bhagavan select us. Otherwise, I would have told you, chant this number of rounds and then Krishna has to select you. But that's not how prema works.
But you said Anukulena, Anu Krishna.
Those are all favorable factors. But are they a guarantee that Krishna will select you? No. Ultimately, who is going to give the final decision? Krishna himself. So he may select, he may not select. Right? Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur spoke this. I will quickly pause on this. There is a booklet which was published, How to Find Guru. And in this booklet, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur's essay is printed. And I will show this particular essay. How will I find a bona fide Guru? Huh? Prabhu, kindly read the answer. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur.
The Supreme Lord acts as a Guru in two ways. As the Chaitya Guru within their heart and externally as the Mahanta Guru or pure devotee. If I am sincere, then the Lord reveals the Mahanta Guru to me. We can go to 1,000 different people with a petition in hand, but until the one person who can approve our application approves it, we get nowhere.
Now please read carefully this.
The Supreme Lord is that person. Why he does or does not approve our request is something we cannot fathom. He is not a field laborer working in our personal garden. We have to be patient and wait. In the meantime, we should prepare ourselves by cultivating a service attitude and trying to eliminate extraneous desires. If we pray sincerely for the Lord's blessings, then He will graciously bless us. Though His grace will...
Through His grace?
Through His grace, we will find a bona fide spiritual master.
So this entire paragraph summarizes what is the attitude of Krishna even in sending a bona fide Guru. What to speak of giving prema. Why He does or does not approve our request is something we cannot fathom. Because He is not Bagiche ka Mali. That is what He translated in English. He is not a field laborer working in our personal garden. Actually in Hindi He has heard the term Bagiche ka Mali. So that is what the emotion He is conveying.
Does this refer to Uttamadikari Guru or
Uttamadikari?
not
No, it refers to the Mahanta Guru.
Mahanta Guru.
That person who is going to be the revolutionizing force in the spiritual life of the individual. Why he does approve or doesn't, we don't know. If he approves, Bhagwan will automatically arrange to send that person. And if he doesn't approve, we can go to 1,000 people. But the application will not be approved.
Brother, the saints say, Padani kis baat pe dayanadi religion, that nobody knows.
No.
There is no reason why somebody will love somebody. What to do.
Yes. So that is the... But at the same time, doesn't mean that we don't do anything. He said we should continue to eliminate extraneous desires and cultivate a favorable attitude. Because that is what makes him more favorable. Right?
So Prabhu, what if we have taken initiation from someone who is not a Mahanta Guru, who is on a lower platform? How does it, he has accepted us and he has given initiation.
Actually, it is not healthy for a disciple to think like that about their Guru.
But the fact that it is true. How do we...
Srila Prabhupada specifies in... this is the last I'll answer and then I'll pause. Srila Prabhupada specifies in Nectar of Instruction.
He says Uttamadikari is the actual Guru. Yeah.
Let's say if one has selected a Guru who is not Uttamadikari, still one can have a Shiksha Guru who is Uttamadikari. Because our parampara also gives equal preference to Shiksha Guru. Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur. शिक्षा गुरु वृंद कृपा करिया अपार साधक के शिखाएं साधनेर अंगसार. This is Kalyan Kalpataru introduction. But I consider the numerous Shiksha Gurus to be more important, for they show unlimitedly more mercy by showing the essential. So between Diksha and Shiksha Guru, whom does Bhakti Vinod Thakur consider more important? Shiksha Guru. In Bhakti Vinod Thakur's own life, whom did he give the highest priority? Jagannath Babaji or his Diksha Guru Bipin Bihari Goswami? Whom did he give? So that is what we should understand. In such a case, we can always find an Uttam Adhikari. We cannot find, but Krishna can bless us with an Uttam Adhikari, Shiksha Guru. Alright, so we'll pause here. Thank you very much, Prabhu. Once again, thank you. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thai Gaur Premanande. Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai.
Krishna.